Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the entire congregation, it is my privilege to welcome each and every one of you to this concert here this evening. My name is Pastor Tom Strandberg, and I'm the senior pastor here of the Mount Lebanon United Methodist Church. I pray that each and every one of you are having a blessed Advent season so far, and we're going to be especially blessed this evening as we have the opportunity to come together and to hear this very talented group. We are so fortunate to be able to have them use our church as their home base for rehearsals and so forth throughout the year, and we are very excited whenever we have the opportunity to hear them. So, friends, I would ask that you would join me as we welcome the Three Rivers Ringers to this program this evening.
Good evening. I'm Beth Aiken, and on behalf of the Three Rivers Ringers, we're so happy to be here tonight at our home, really, Mount Lebanon United Methodist. Our first selection today was Sing We Now of Christmas, or by its French title, Noël Nouvelet. It featured our Whitechapel handbells that the Three Rivers Ringers just purchased last fall. These bells were manufactured in England in about the 1840s, and they have a slightly different tone than our usual Schulmerich handbells. They also have leather handles, if you noticed, instead of the black plastic handles that our Schulmerich bells have. We like to use the Whitechapel bells, and later you'll see our Silver Melody bells to kind of highlight the melody line on some of our pieces. Our next piece will be The Snow Lay on the Ground, which is arranged by Cynthia Dobrinsky. This is a tune that is perhaps a little less familiar than many that we'll be playing tonight, but it also originated in the mid-19th century England, so this tune was actually written about the same time our Whitechapel handbells were being cast. The first verse of this hymn begins, "The snow lay on the ground, the stars shone bright, when Christ the Lord was born on Christmas night. Venite adoremus Dominum." Now, even if this song is new to you, those Latin words might sound a little bit familiar, and in fact, they translate to "Come, let us adore him," and thus, in this piece, you will hear an interlude of "O Come All Ye Faithful," played on hand chimes in the middle of the piece.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Deb Ardem, and I'm very happy to be part of the Three Rivers Ringers, and we thank you for coming out this evening. It is my pleasure to introduce our next piece entitled Breath of Heaven. Breath of Heaven was originally composed by English singer and songwriter Christopher Eaton in 1992, and interestingly, it wasn't intended to be a Christmas song. It was rather more an expression of worship and of Christopher's faith. Well, many of you have heard probably of Amy Grant. Amy was a friend of Christopher's, and she heard his song and decided that she wanted to record it for her Christmas album, but she wanted different lyrics. She liked the chorus, but perhaps not the verses so much. And so she called Christopher and told him, and I imagine the conversation went something like, "And what exactly is wrong with my lyrics?" But she informed him that he couldn't possibly have written it the way she intended because she, as a pregnant woman at the time, was coming at it from a woman's perspective. So they, like I said, they were friends and they had toured together, so this was very easily accomplished. And the song with Amy Grant's lyrics expresses the mother of Jesus as a frightened young woman with human doubts, but with faith in the mercy and goodness of the Lord to see her through. So they went to the studio and recorded the piece, and we now know it as a Christmas song. Lloyd Larson's HandBell arrangement is simply lovely, and we are very lucky and pleased to be able to welcome Bethany Mingle as our soloist this evening. Thank you, Bethany, for being here, and we hope you enjoy Breath of Heaven.
My name is Cynthia Donahoe, and I've been a part of this organization from the beginning when they decided to let me in, much to my surprise. Our next piece is Here We Come a Carol Ringing, arranged by David Kent. Here We Come a Carol Ringing contains snippets of 5 Christmas carols. When I did my little research for this talk, I was really impressed by how ancient some of the things that we sing every Christmas really are. The Christmas carols in this piece are Joy to the World, written in 1719, Deck the Halls, a Welsh tune from the 16th century, Good Christians All Rejoice from 1931, Carol of the Bells, a carol with Ukrainian origins from 1936, and finally, Here We Come a Wassailing, a traditional English Christmas carol sung while wassailing, or singing carols door to door. I was originally going to ask you if you could find all of those pieces, or at least you could identify them, but now I'll just see if you can find them. For those of you who aren't musicians, music is written in key signatures and time signatures. Key signatures indicate what sharps and flats, or the black pieces on the piano, we need to add for subsequent measures. Time signatures indicate the number of beats in each measure. This piece we had to work on because it is written in 6/8, 3/4, 2/4, 7/8, and 4/4. So we have to pay attention, and we are definitely not bored. Enjoy Here We Come a Carol Ringing.
Good evening again, everyone. And as we move into this next part of the program, I'm going to talk a little bit about how we sort of create concepts for these concerts. We usually go with some sort of theme if we can. And when we were first planning this Christmas program, we thought it might be fun to do a whole concert of Christmas music that is related in some way to Christmas movies or television. We ultimately end up going a slightly different direction, but my set here on the podium tonight is what remains of that original idea. And so we've got several pieces here, all associated with live-action movies, animated television shows, even the Veggie Tales. So if you're someone my age or have children about my age, you might remember that from back in the day. So this first piece is called Christmas Toys on Parade. This is a medley arranged by Jason Krug, and it incorporates 3 familiar tunes that have been used many times in various animated Christmas movies and in many other contexts. So we'll have March of the Toys and Toyland, both originally composed by Victor Herbert. And we will also have Parade of the Wooden Soldiers, originally by Leon Jessel. And we're going to use our full complement of handbells that we are using this evening, as well as some percussion and some of our silver melody bells, if someone could hold that up. Good. Those are a different shape and a different color, and the different shape and material give them a different sound. So I'd like you to listen for that later on in the piece, and I think that adds a little bit of a toy-like quality to this piece.
Hi, I'm Bjorn Dakin. Thank you again for being here. Our next piece is entitled Somewhere in My Memory. It was composed by John Williams for the Christmas movie Home Alone from 1990. This song, as well as Home Alone's original score, were both nominated for Academy Awards. The lyrics were written by Leslie Bricusse, who, among other things, wrote the soundtrack for Dr. Dolittle in 1967 and co-wrote the soundtrack for Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory in 1971. The lyrics, minus the singing, go like this: candles in the window, shadows painting the ceiling, gazing at the fire glow, feeling that gingerbread feeling, precious moments, special people, happy faces I can see. Somewhere in my memory, Christmas joys all around me. Living in my memory, all of the music, all of the magic, all of the family home here with me. The piece we're playing for you today was arranged by Don Hart. This arrangement calls for only 6 ringers, so several of us get to take a breather. Deb Artem will switch instruments and play keyboard, and Jeremy Smith joins us on percussion.
Christmas feast. It centers around a turkey with all the trimmings. But this is a rather recent choice of a main course. Turkeys or hams were not always the primary meats. In old times, as far back as the 1300s, the boar was considered the most ferocious animal in the land, one that tormented humans and was notoriously difficult to catch. For someone to capture a boar and serve it as a meal, it represented overcoming the sovereign ruling beast of the forest and was a great honor. The Boar's Head Carol celebrates the triumph of capturing the boar and presenting the head as a meal to the king. The boar's head was festooned with garland and spices, and this ceremony and celebration can be traced back to the year 1340 in Oxford, England. By the 1600s, the presentation of a boar's head during a meal became a very symbolic and important way to honor someone in power. Just like our Thanksgiving turkey, roasted boar was a staple of medieval banquets and was not just eaten, but it was taken to the recipients with elaborate pageantry and ceremony. As Christian beliefs overcame pagan customs in Europe, the presentation of a boar's head at Christmas came to symbolize the triumph of the Christ child over sin. The Boar's Head Carol is a complex and rich song that celebrates the presentation of the boar's head and offers a reminder of the gifts from the Magi to the young Jesus. So while you may not enjoy boar's head for dinner, please enjoy our version of the Boar's Head Carol arranged by Jason Krug.
Our next piece, You Are a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, was written and composed for the 1966 animation How the Grinch Stole Christmas, which is based on Theodore Seuss Geisel's 1957 book of the same name. I'd like to read you an excerpt. As the story goes, Mr. Grinch is determined to stop Christmas from coming to Whoville. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why, no one quite knows the reason. It could be that his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be, perhaps, that his shoes were too tight. But I think the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. So he slid down the chimney a rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, so could the Grinch. Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room. He took every present. Dr. Seuss was 53 years old when he wrote How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the same age as the Grinch in the story. He wrote the book to see if he could rediscover something about Christmas that he had lost. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. Albert Haig composed the music for You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch to Dr. Seuss's lyrics. Haig was a German-born American songwriter and actor. This arrangement for HandBells was written by Kevin McChesney. Kevin has composed over 400 arrangements and other original works for HandBells, and we'll also have Jeremy on percussion. So without further ado, please enjoy You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch.
we wrap up this middle section of our program with White Christmas. And for this one, we're going to need your help. So, this piece is originally by Irving Berlin and arranged beautifully by Cynthia Dobrinsky. And we will be opening the piece with the White Christmas tune that I'm sure most of us are familiar with. And then it's going to go into a slightly less familiar section. This interlude in this piece is actually what was originally the introduction to the song, which is not frequently performed. And I will admit that I did not know the lyrics to that section of this song until we were preparing for this concert. The original opening text goes like this. The sun is shining, the grass is green, the orange and palm trees sway. There's never been such a day in Beverly Hills, LA. But it's December the 24th, and I am longing to be up north. So you'll hear the White Christmas melody, and then you'll hear our little interlude. And then after that, we're going to play White Christmas again, and I'm going to turn around, and I would love it if you would all sing with us for the ending of the piece. So please enjoy White Christmas. we conclude with the final section of our program this evening, I would like to invite forward the president of our board of directors, Linda Minotti, to speak with you for a few moments.
Good evening, Mount Lebanon. It is good to be home. This is our home, and we welcome all of you here this evening, along with those people watching on our live stream. Certainly like to have some thanks. Pastor Tom mentioned that we use a lot of this rehearsal space, and we couldn't do this, quite honestly, without the help of this church. So we're most indebted to Pastor Tom Strandberg and Mitchell Stecker, the music program here at Mount Lebanon. Some of these instruments you see up here belong to Mount Lebanon, some belong to Three Rivers Ringers. So we certainly thank them for allowing us to use their rehearsal space. And including thanks, I'd like to mention our sponsors, and I do have to say I made a boo-boo. Somehow an ad got dropped out of the program, so we want to make a special note, to Hal English and Associates and LDM Embroidery and Rolliers Hardware here in Mount Lebanon. Thanks to them for helping to sponsor. And tonight's program is a special one because it's underwritten by Sandy Caruso of Morgan Stanley, and we certainly appreciate her support in doing that this evening. I'm just curious, I see a lot of new faces here this evening. How many people are coming to a Bell concert for their very first time? That is awesome. And we're so glad to see you, and I hope that you're enjoying what you're seeing. A couple of notes. We're going to be having an open rehearsal on January the 14th. So if anyone might be interested in joining our organization or seeing what we do, obviously what you see this evening, it doesn't sound like this in the beginning of the season. It's kind of a mess. So maybe you're a little bit intimidated, but don't feel that way. So if you're interested, come on and check us out on January the 14th. We're right here in this church at 6 o'clock p.m. We're also going to be doing a workshop on February the 24th. So if you're in a Bell choir or you're an individual looking to maybe improve your skills, we're going to be having classes and ringing. So that will be having more information on our website. Again, that's February the 24th. Please stop by our merchandise table in the narthex after the concert. You might find some stocking stuffers. There's some CDs for sale, our last 2 Christmas CDs and a couple of non-Christmas CDs. You might even find a handmade Christmas ornament by Beth Dakin out there, a little treasure. Those help defray our costs. I know in your households, costs have gone up. It takes more money to put lights on and gas in your car. It's the same with us. Every piece of music we buy is about $6 a sheet. And put gas in the trailer to pull that thing around, to put gas in the truck, I should say, to pull the trailer. Insurance costs, all that kind of thing. So if you're so inclined, you might have enjoyed the concert. If you really enjoyed the concert, if you consider making a donation to us tonight, we would really appreciate it. You'll find that in your program book was an envelope. And if you don't feel like giving tonight, if you'd like to mail that in, obviously we'd appreciate that as well. And also, right now, we're looking to have a new trailer. Ours is 8 years old, believe it or not, and you can imagine all the weight that thing carries. So that's our next big expense, is saving for a new trailer. You also might have found in your program book a form. So if you'd fill that out, give us your name and information. We don't sell it, give it to anybody. We just want to keep you updated with future events and concerts. If you've already done it, we're not going to duplicate it, but that way we can kind of keep you apprised of future concerts. And you can put that, both the form and the donations, at the merchandise table in the back. There'll be a couple of baskets back there. And after the concert, especially for you new people, if you want to come up and talk to us, we'd love to talk to you. We're kind of handbell nerds like that. We love to talk bells, and we had a gentleman the other week that said, "What does your music look like?" So maybe you want to come up and take a look at that, or maybe those big bells down there that weigh 18 pounds, maybe you want to take a look at one of those, or those nasty little things up there. Yeah, you don't look at those. But come up and talk to us. We'd be happy to answer any questions. But most importantly, thank you for coming. I know it's kind of an ugly evening out there. Kind of reminds you, it is December, right? But we really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to come and listen to us. And I hope that we've given you a little bit of holiday cheer this evening. We wish you a very Merry Christmas. And thank you so much again for coming. Our next piece, and I'll always screw this up, but it's Los Peces en el Rio, which is a Spanish carol, and it's translated to the little fishes in the river. And they're really happy that God is coming, so all the fishes are really happy. This was arranged by a good friend of mine by the name of Brian Seaman, and he also incorporated another piece into it called Foom, Foom, Foom. You may have heard that carol in the past as well. So if you listen closely, you'll hear Deb and I back there in the back row playing Foom, Foom, Foom. So kind of listen for that interplay between the two pieces. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dan Fernandez. It's so great to be back at Mount Lebanon. The next piece really needs no introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway. We're playing Jingle Bell Rock, which is one of the most popular Christmas songs of all time. It was written by Joe Beal and Jim Booth, and this arrangement done by Douglas Wagner. But it was really made famous by Bobby Helms back in 1957. That was the first version and still the definitive version of this song. Of course, it's been covered by more artists than I can possibly count, but just to name a few, Chubby Checker, Hall & Oates, Lindsay Lohan, and Ariana Grande. Wide cast of characters have sung this song. One of the lyrics in the piece may seem a little bit mysterious to a lot of folks, but it's, "Now the jingle hop has begun." Does anybody here know what the jingle hop was? I think I heard it, but it's a dance. So it was a sock hop. So back in the 1940s, the sock hops were a very popular dance held in a high school gymnasium. And this was, of course, before sneakers were invented, so you had to take off your hard-soled leather shoes and dance in your stocking feet at the sock hop. So that's where that came from. Regardless of whether you take your shoes off and dance for this one, we hope you have as much fun with Jingle Bell Rock as we do.
For everything that you've seen in this polished presentation, there is much more unseen. We do not have a large staff or road crew, but we have volunteers, ringers, and many others who see to venue logistics, management, publicity and marketing, finances, our music library, rehearsal subs, our board of directors, equipment maintenance, trailer hauling, and not least important, restocking our chocolate box. And so for all of their unseen efforts with our organization, please join me in this extra measure of appreciation. I invite now our Director Emerita, Nancy Lutz, to share a few words about our final piece. Best wishes to you all for a meaningful holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. And thank you all for coming tonight. You know, there's no point in having a concert if you don't have an audience. So you're a very important part of this. We're going to close with one of Valerie Stevenson's wonderful Christmas medleys, Celebrate the Newborn King. Now, you know, this concert was put together and things were selected months and months ago in the summer. We were saddened to learn just a couple of weeks ago that Valerie had died. And I want to tell you a little bit about my friend, Valerie Stevenson. I knew her as a composer before I met her, and she became my friend. I was honored by being elected to represent this part of the handbell world on the national board. And before my first meeting, which happened to be in Jacksonville, Valerie's hometown, I got an email, and Valerie said, "Would you be my roommate?" And I nearly fainted because she was a celebrity. And we really hit it off. We spent 3 days together, you know, day and night. And she's a remarkable woman, intelligent, funny, and just a very loving mother, daughter, grandmother, sister. And it was a pleasure to be her friend. She had a career in public education, music education, that lasted for a couple of decades before she ever met a handbell. Oh, I should mention, she was a proud Seminole, University of, Florida State University. Don't. So, but she'd been composing. Life changed, and the world of handbells changed, because Valerie composed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pieces for handbells. They ranged in things from things that children would love to very, very difficult pieces of music. And if you played handbells here in this church with me, she's the author of that contemptible exercises we use called coordination conundrums, which I know I've just tormented everyone with that. Well, anyway, she did a lot not only in composition, but because she was such a great contributor to the National Handbell Organization through her efforts in the area where she lived, in furthering the handbells and being a clinician and doing classes and really promoting handbells. She was granted the Honorary Life Award for her contributions to the organization. So we would like to dedicate this concert tonight to her and to her legacy. And we would also like to, one more time, wish you a blessed, musical, and festive Christmas.